Hi friends, Dr. Kevin Agarth here. This is Marriage Partners Ministry. Hey, I get asked several questions frequently. If I'm traveling and just strike up a conversation with a stranger, they ask, "Hey, what do you do?" I tell them, "Hey, I'm a marriage coach." And some of the first questions that I always get from people, there's three really common questions. So let me just address those publicly here on video. So one really common question I get is, are you married? They want to know if I'm married. They say, well, what's your tell me more about your education level. They want to know, did you go to Harvard? Did you go to Yale? Where did you go? They also want to know, have you been divorced? Another very common questions, have you been divorced? And what I found through conversation, through being asked this many, many times, through answering the question many, many times, what I found is at the heart of the question is really a deeper question. And they're trying to determine value by these surface level questions. What they're really wanting to ask is, what degree of value can you add? And possibly to me, what degree of value can you add? Like, what's your secret sauce? Like, what's the magic that you got to offer to people? And so they try to root that out in the forms of these other questions. And I found that really often it's flawed thinking that leads us to ask more surface level questions. What they're wanting to know is, are you good? Are you any good? Do you know what you're talking about? Do you know what you're doing? And so, friends, what I want to encourage you today is, remember, judge the teacher by what the students achieve. That's the only metric that's accurate and that is sustainable, is you judge the teacher by what the students achieve. And that's it. Now think about it. When I get asked a question like that, let's take the "Are you married?" for example. If I tell them yes, optimist, well, that's great. That's a good thing. Let's say I tell them, yeah, I've been married for, I'm just making this up as I go. Yeah, I've been married for 10 years. Optimists say, good, 10 years, good, that's a long time. What about a pessimist? Now, this is the same information, just a different way of interpreting it. Pessimists are going to say, well, you've been married only once? Well, I want somebody who's went through some trials. I want somebody who's really went through some struggles. Being married only once, that doesn't impress me too much. And 10 years, that's it. I want a marriage coach that's been married like 30, 40, 50 years. So your optimist or pessimist has a totally different perspective on what you're providing. And then they're going to make a knee-jerk reaction, a knee-jerk thought reaction of whether or not they think you have any value to offer them or not. Another common one's on education. So for a pessimist, if you didn't go to Harvard, it's not good enough. If you haven't went to Yale, it's not good enough. And again, very reactionary thinking. Another one is people ask, have you ever been divorced? I mean, think about that question. What they're really wanting to know is, what value do you have to offer? And they're thinking just very, surface level thinking. They're thinking, if you've been divorced, you probably, a pessimist is going to say, you probably don't know what you're talking about. If you've been divorced, you probably don't know. What do you possibly have to offer me? Because if you've been divorced, I don't want what you got. So what you have to offer is not for me. And they just shut the door and kind of are no longer open to thoughtful discussion. Optimists, on the other hand, they say, well, you've been divorced. Well, great, good. Then you've been through some of the same challenges I've been through. You've been down that road, maybe multiple times even. Some people, but down the road multiple times. So you have a lot more experience than I have. And so there's different perspectives. Always remember this: you judge the teacher by what the students achieve. Any other metric is, it can be like a road sign. It might kind of point you in the right direction. Like I would say, if a person went to Harvard, it's not really probably a negative necessarily, but it's not necessarily a positive either. It's not 100% proof that this is a great marriage coach because they went to Harvard. It could kind of go either way there. Same thing, if a person's been married, divorced, it's not necessarily good one way or another. It could be a road sign, it could be an indication, but all by itself is not proof. But if a marriage coach goes out, teaches people, and they have students, clients if you will, and their clients go on to have great marriages, now that is a powerful indication of the value that they have to offer to you. Let me give you an example of this. I'll try to be very sensitive in how I word it because I don't want to embarrass anybody, and I don't want to certainly use anybody's names. But a number of years ago, there was a very prominent professor, and the professor did a advanced coursework on marital therapy. He had very advanced academic degrees. Before the end of the courses, he himself was getting a divorce. So there's an indication that advanced degrees doesn't necessarily mean that you know what you're talking about. It doesn't necessarily mean that you can implement things in your own life. It doesn't necessarily mean that this is a great person that you should listen to and follow every word that they say. On the other hand, now some people would say, again, reactionary, knee-jerk reaction thinking would say, well, if he got divorced and he's the one teaching the class, then what he has to say is of no value. And that, again, is not accurate thinking. What he had to teach might have been very, very accurate. There could be a lot of reasons why he ended up divorced, and maybe some of them aren't his own fault. Maybe they are. We don't know. But to make a judgment is terrible. But now, if you were to go at all of his students, and are his students saving marriages and all kinds of marriages being saved, and his own students, are their marriages saved? That'd be a good indication. That'd be a very good indication of if what he has to say is of high value or not. Educators all over the world, I think, would agree that you might know your content, the specific thing that you're teaching. You might know that content really, really well. But teaching is a whole separate profession. It's a whole separate set of things that you need to know about. You got to understand how people learn, the different styles of learning, and education is an entirely different field. So if you're going to teach something, you got to know all about education and you got to know all about content. You could be a content expert and not be able to teach adequately. So there again, we're not, one wouldn't take any value away from the content that they know, but if you can't teach it in such a way where the students have great success in their lives, where what the students are achieving is substandard, then it's not a good teacher. And I think you got to judge the teacher by what the students achieve. Another example is of the college professor that teaches business finance. And so if a student wants to go start a business as they get older, that's why they're going to college. They want to learn about how to do that. They want to become wealthy. They want to become rich or whatever. And, to go to a particular professor and say, have you ever started a business? And to judge his value as a teacher based on if he's ever had a business. Have you ever become a multimillionaire? Well, and let's say those answers are no. Let's say he never started a business. Let's say he's not a multimillionaire. Is what is the stuff he's teaching of no value or limited value? No. Now, some people will say, well, you can't give what you haven't done in your own life. You can't give what you don't have. That's not necessarily true. You see, there are some professors, as an example, who love teaching. They don't want to start a business. They're very fulfilled. They don't need millions of dollars. They want to teach. They love to teach. They love to add value to students. They love to see their students go out and thrive in life. You see, you could have a professor who can teach really well, and the students go on to have all kinds of success, and he maybe never even done it himself. These are all prime examples to judge the teacher by what the students achieve, not by the credentials, not by what the teacher is doing in his or her own life. So, of course, that then brings us to the very next question. Well, Dr. Kevin, what do your students achieve? And I think that is the question that everybody should be asking of their coach, of their marriage counselor. They should be asking every single one of them, what do your students achieve? Do you have statistics? Good statistics. Most of them, most marriage counselors have to tell you, well, no, we don't really have statistics. Most marriage programs, seminars, they say, well, we got these feedback cards that we gave to people a week after they attended our seminar, and they said that they really enjoyed the seminar. But in terms of value, do you have great statistics? Almost all of them will tell you, no, I guess we really don't. When you really push them against the wall and you really don't accept a comment card as a statistic, almost all of them will tell you no. I've been to all of them. I mean, every time there's a marriage program, I go to it. I go to it. Other people's programs. I mean, I enjoy learning. I enjoy teaching. I enjoy helping people. And if there's some new cutting edge thing out there, I want to know about it. I go to all the programs. So friends, here at Marriage Partners Ministry, we have a 98% success rate. 98%. And this is long term. This isn't, a little comment card we do a week after you went to one of our programs. This is long term. We pull people for a 10-year period of time. So if you stay in contact with us, you update your email if you ever change it, update your address with us. We just catch up. We just stay up to you all the time because we want to know if we need to adjust, if we need to change. We need to know these things, and you can't know what you don't measure. So we develop these measuring tools, if you will, so we know that we're doing a good job. Our students achieve tremendous success. And so that's how I can very confidently look you in the eye and tell you we are a good source of help for you. We can help you. We have a 98% success rate. Friends, here at Marriage Partners Ministry, I just want to partner with you. I want to help you to have a passionate marriage that will last a lifetime. Please share this video with a friend of yours. Remember, what you make happen for others, God will make happen for you. Thank you.